Hey guys, Alec Torelli here from Conscious Poker. Today we're going to talk about the poker boom. Poker is booming here, at least in the US, but also worldwide, I think. And there are several reasons for that. We're going to talk about that today and some very interesting ones. Be sure to stay to the end because probably something you haven't heard or potentially thought about before, but I think it's really an interesting way to look at things as well. We've had record-breaking numbers. I was, grateful to participate in the World Series of Poker this year, the biggest one in history, and it was amazing. Over 10,000 people put up $10,000. Just think about that, 10,000 people. There's 4 starting days, and it was, when you were there, the energy, you could feel it. So many people, all with the same interests, all with the same hopes and dreams in one place, and that was very exciting to be a part of that. And then here at the Wynn in December, the World Poker Tour, the biggest one in history, almost 40 million in the prize pool for that event. So again, 4,000 people putting up $10,000 in the middle of December, like during the holidays, just casually at the Wynn. It's incredible what we're seeing here in poker, and I think there are several reasons for that. So I'm definitely an optimist, so I'm going to talk about first the exciting and positive and amazing things that have happened in poker over the last 20 years since I've been a part of the game, and also a different way of looking at things that people aren't talking about, but that I think as part of this channel and things I'm talking about, I think is very important to consider and be mindful of as well. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone at the World Series of Poker, the World Poker Tour, the organizers, the events. It is incredible. It is a stellar event and an experience. And I think starting here at the top, just acknowledging that, how amazing it is to participate in these events, how well run they are. 10,000 people, 4,000 people in a single venue, all trying to get there at the same time, all trying to win and whatever. It is a lot to manage, and the team and the staff and the venues, the events, they do an incredible job. So poker has become a lot more mature. It's become a lot more fun environment to play in because the tournaments are so much better run. I mean, even down to the little details. Like in the past, we didn't have a big blind ante. Everyone had to ante every hand, and it was your ante versus my ante, whatever, and people forgot, and it took time, and it slowed down the game. There's so many things that have been improved about poker over the past 20 years since I've started playing, and it's very impressive to see. And so congrats, shout out to the team and staff. I think that's a huge, huge part of it. Second, we've had a lot more people talk about and share their poker journey. I mean, when I first started creating content on YouTube 2013, YouTube wasn't really that big of a thing at the time, and there wasn't many content creators. There weren't vlogs. Vlogs weren't a thing. I mean, even just the technology and handheld camera equipment and the quality of video, both from a technology perspective, but also from a streaming perspective. I mean, the internet's become more ubiquitous, speeds have gotten faster, data's become cheaper, it's a lot easier to stream content, everyone now has a smartphone. I mean, that wasn't a thing 10 years ago, so it was hard to have a poker boom because poker wasn't in your pocket, it wasn't accessible 24/7, and people weren't sharing their poker journey. So I just think the amount of content and awareness around poker has become huge, and so that's really ignited excitement in people that are seeing poker every day. They're watching live streams, they're watching content creators. Live streaming wasn't a thing. Again, that's part of the new sort of age of poker. So there weren't live streams. Poker wasn't as accessible. There kind of was a dead period after it was banned in the US with the online poker. It was harder to get sponsors and live streamed events. And then live streaming and the internet technology all kind of boomed at the same time. And so it became accessible to everyone. So when people are watching poker every day, they're watching, TikTok and YouTube. They're seeing it on Twitter. They're seeing it on YouTube. They're watching content creators. They get excited about it and they want to go play. So that's creating a demand for people that want to play poker. And that's really cool. And that's awesome. And that's a really cool thing about technology and the internet. And I met so many great people, you guys, through this channel. And it's been an amazing joy and experience and journey. And so, even doing my small little part in that, I'm really grateful to be a part of that community and this journey. So I think that's a big reason why poker's boomed as well, especially with internet and everything becoming more accessible. The next reason I think poker has boomed is there's been a shift and an evolution, I would say, in consciousness. When I started playing poker, I told people I was, just going to play full time. There was not a reference for what that was like. People had never met a professional poker player, and some people even still to this day haven't, but they have never even heard of one or seen one or knew that was a possible thing. And so it was a lot more taboo to play poker. There was a lot less interest in it, and it was a lot harder for people to kind of have approval of people around them or to justify that poker was a hobby. Maybe people wanted to keep it a secret. Maybe it was, they were ashamed to play if they had a, high profile position or whatever. And seeing that go from there to where poker, it's not where I want it to be, and I hope to do my little part to push it forward, but I think we're halfway there. And in the past 20 years we made a lot of progress. Poker is now okay. It's accepted. It's okay to play poker as a hobby. You know, everyone probably has, you know, heard someone that's played poker or seen poker on TV or been exposed to poker somewhere. They might not, you know a lot of professionals or hang out with poker players. That's fine. But there's an awareness around poker and what it is, and that it is, you know, you can compete in it. You can win a lot of money, and there are people that are doing it. That wasn't a frame of reference that we had 20 years ago. We have that today. Where I'd like to see poker go, and hopefully in the next 20 years, you know, together we can all, you know, move it that direction, is that poker is looked up to and respected for the things you can learn and the principles that it teaches us and the quality of things you have to learn in order to level up your character and win at poker. So you can learn things like decision making and risk analysis and emotional mastery and discipline and focus and, you know, leaving ego and judgment aside and, you know, being present and objective. And you can learn those qualities through the game of poker. And that's where I think we need to take poker for it to become, you know, fully legitimized and respected as a game, as a competitive hobby like chess, sport, whatever you want to call it. So I think we you know, hopefully we'll get there in 20 years, hopefully sooner, but we're halfway through that process. And I think that's legitimized poker to a point where people are now wanting to play, and it's cool to play and it's accepted to play. And I think in the future we'll get to a point where it's revered and exciting and you know, awesome to play poker. So I think the last reason here, and I guess this kind of harsh truth that, you know, people aren't talking about, but I think it's really, really important, arguably one of the biggest reasons for the poker boom, is, you know, the first World Series of Poker was in 1970 when Johnny Moss won. There were 7 people putting up $10,000 to play in the World Series of Poker. Now today, you know, 50 years later, 55 years later, the World Series of Poker still is $10,000. But if you look at the purchasing power of $10,000 in 1970 and you compare it to today, $10,000 in 1970 is $81,149.40, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So according to the CPI, the actual official government metric they use to measure inflation, which if you follow shadow stats or, you know, you look at what's in the CPI and how they alter it and kind of move the goalpost consistently, those numbers are likely underreported. So it's probably closer to 100,000, but let's use the official numbers and say it's 81,000. The value of the dollars decreased by, you know, 80%, 90% over those 55 years. So if $10,000 was $10,000 back today it would be $1,250. So, you know, the size of the poker economy, the accessibility to playing large tournaments in the past was very hard. You had to have the equivalent of $80,000 to play the main event. Today, you only need $10,000, which is the equivalent back then would have been $1,250. So I hope you get the point. The point is that the value of the dollar has gone like this over the past 55 years. It'll continue to do so. That's why, you know, thankfully we have Bitcoin. That's a story from my other YouTube channel. Follow me at Torelli or on Twitter at Alec Torelli. I talk a lot more about this. But I think a large part of it is just that the buy-ins of the tournaments. I mean, yeah, we have some high roller tournaments, but the high roller tournaments are much more of a metric of what poker probably looked like back in the 1970s. You go and play a 100K tournament. That's the equivalent of playing the main event. The 100K tournaments don't have 10,000 people because it's 100K. Well, back in 1970, 10K was 100K, 80K or 100K. So I hope you're getting the idea of what I'm saying here. And then that's kind of a way to kind of think about why poker has boomed so much. The buy-ins have stayed relatively consistent. In fact, we actually have smaller buy-ins today. We have $2,000 buy-in tournaments or $1,000 buy-in tournaments or $3,500 main events like the one in Florida, the World Poker Tour. So poker's a lot more accessible, and the purchasing power of the dollars got down a lot. I think that's a big reason why poker has improved. You know, poker has scaled and grown as an industry. So leave me your thoughts in a comment below. Which one of these was your favorite? Why do you think the poker boom has happened? Subscribe to this channel. More awesome content's coming at Conscious Poker. Highly recommend you check out consciouspoker.com as well. We have a lot of free downloads and awesome weekly newsletter to help you take your game to the next level. I'm Alec Torelli. Thanks for your attention. I'll see you guys in the next one.